happily contented soul. Now did you lacerate me long enough? While all enticing secrets were slowly whispering unearthly love. The words I have, the spells I know, were not enough to make you happy, to make you smile again. The words I have, the spells I know, were not enough to make you happy, to make you smile again. Like roses, your drugs in bloom, in psychic beauty, my frantic heart. I thought I saw you gloating over my private inferno. You owe me answers. The words I have, the spells I know, were not enough to make you happy, to make you smile again.
Good evening and welcome back to the dwarven fortress of Esmulrakust, where apparently I went on holiday leaving myself with a challenge, namely a newly arrived goblin siege, complete with war cave dragon, a goblin spearman riding a beak dog, a Monera who I think is the one in charge, commanded by the Monera Nuo Cryrained. Oh yes, I should post a thing, shouldn't I? Thank you. And I should turn up my mouse pointer size. And where on earth is my web browser gone? Come back. Okay, that didn't help. Try that button again. Oh, because I pressed the button for Emacs rather than the one for Firefox. Okay. Bonk. Right, there we go. And also I should make my mouse pointer enormous. Yes, I am awake really. I haven't just been on holiday doing other things. Seeing cursor size enormous. Right. So yes, and they've brought a blind cave ogre siege engineer who I don't know quite how they'll navigate out here, and a blind cave ogre miner who might be able to dig into our fortress. Not that anyone has yet managed any useful siege engineering at our fortress, because the goblins that come with them are so impatient that they can't actually wait for the trolls, or in this case blind cave ogres, to do their siege engineering. They rush the front doors of the fortress and all get slaughtered. And this appears to be pretty reliable. So yes, I expect that the blind cave ogres will try to construct some clever means by which the goblins can break into the fortress, and be foiled by the fact that by the time they finish there are no goblins left. And probably get themselves killed in the process, because they still aren't very clever. This is a new version of Dwarf Fortress though. Where's the release notes? Which tell me this patch gives messengers more tasks, like the ability to make peace or open trade relations. You can assign messengers in the same menu where you assign other positions, like the manager and broker. I think that was true already. And you can give them missions from the world screen. There are also some optimizations and other fixes. So in particular, this finally gives you a way of causing a civilization to trade with you other than by demanding tribute from them. Essentially, before, the only way you could tell another civilization that your fortress existed was by attacking them in some way, or at least demanding tribute. Whereas now you can send a messenger who will simply, presumably, say something along the lines of, "Hello, this fortress exists. You might want to send a trade caravan to it." So I think I should do my usual stuff that needs setting up at the start of a siege. So the syrups of starting should not be trying to do anything military. They should also not be doing any tasks other than operating siege engines. On the subject of siege engines, practice bolt thrower should be out of use. Front catapult should be prepared. The front and barbican bolt throwers should be fired as necessary. The main burrow should obviously be unpaused, and we should make sure that it actually has all of our dwarves in it. If we have any interesting pastures, we should sort out what they're doing. No, we don't. we should also sort out the wagon bridge should be retracted, which means to the right. The inner drawbridge should be extended, which means to the left. And I don't think we have any surface mining, but I'll have a quick look around. A load of forbidden arrows and such around here. We could unforbid those maybe after the siege. I mean, there is a mine here, but it doesn't actually seem to be marked for mining at the moment. It's quite a good mine because we started out as a kaolinite mine. We've apparently found a vein of hematite up that wall, some bloodstone and grey chalcedony clusters here, a seam of lignite there, a pyrite cluster there, and then apparently some more kaolinite on the other side of these various things. Anyway, but nothing actually seems to be marked for mining up here, so it's clear of that. We know they're here. We definitely know they're here. That's not interesting. We've trained some dogs. That's probably good, but they're not going to be much good against that lot. Right. So there was, I noticed, a dwarf outside. Just want to have a quick glance around and convince myself that there is precisely that one dwarf outside. I think so, so we can micromanage them a bit. They seem to be heading in the correct direction, which is good. Guess we will get a lot of job cancellations. There is an argument that our kind of watchtower shouldn't be abandoned the moment that the goblins turn up, but it probably wouldn't help very much. Where? Oh, there they are, right. Yes, we should. Keep a fairly close eye. Why is there a pile of platinum bars outside? Isn't there like a danger that the goblins are just going to nick them? That would be sensible, wouldn't it? The goblins would turn up and just haul away your piles of valuable objects, but I don't think this is their plan anymore. But you can see no willingness to hang back and wait for the siege engineers to do their stuff. Oh no, they're going to charge forwards. Do you know what the siege engineers would do if they managed to get here? If they never got close enough to try. No, they often get here. They've successfully. I mean, for instance, this small platform here, which I was planning to demolish, was left by a previous siege engineer. They like constructing new ways into the fortress, but the problem is they tend to end up with them being in front of this bolt thrower at some point, at which point the siege engineer dies quite rapidly. Like if they were clever, they would do things like build walls along the edges of around here, so that the goblins could sneak up on the entrance without getting shot. They have tried, I think, on 2 occasions coming into the main gate from above, but they've always ended up coming down within the range of this bolt thrower. But the second time they did do it slightly further to the right, and then they got a cave dragon to knock down this this bridge from the inside. Or rather, I think it was in the other order. The cave dragon knocked the bridge down, and then the siege engineer constructed a way in, but that still ended up in front of the bolt thrower, and with no defence from the bolt thrower. So I think one thing they don't yet build is temporary defences against my fixed defences or whatever. Yes, temporary barriers to stop my fixed defences from killing everyone. I think given enough time, they would also start digging into the fortress, which would be much more dangerous. But I think they are quite reluctant to do that, possibly because it would be overpowered if they were actually to do it significantly. I should pay some attention to whether any dwarves are doing anything stupid. They don't seem to be so far, which is nice. You're still steadily moving in the correct direction, which means you're probably not just fleeing the goblins, which is good. There are a lot of goblins now. The goblins are slightly more in a milling around state than an actually doing anything state. Where's our dwarf? There they are. So our what's that? Is that the enormous pile of? Well, it's only one pile of pyroluxite blocks. Yes, conveniently the the siege engineers come with a load of rock blocks, which we can then use to construct our own things. So we are now building things out of pyroluxite a bit, simply because we've got so much of the stuff delivered by friendly trolls. Let's remove the instruction to demolish that, just in case anyone takes it upon themselves to do it. Right, so that dwarf is doing the sensible thing and heading inside. We haven't yet crewed either of the bolt throwers, though. I think now we get to watch the goblins trying to organise themselves. And like, if they're quick... Oh dear, there's a kitten running outside. Who? Oh right, we have got someone crewing the catapult. So that suggests there was at least one dwarf outside whom I did not account for. First goblins are now very close to the front of the fortress. Let us assume there are no more dwarves out there and allow the catapult to fire. Not that a catapult turns out to be a very useful object. Right, you see that goblin there? Do you think you can hit it? Do you? You are set to fire at enemies, aren't you? Yes. Whee! Oh, I haven't done the fiddling with the game log, have I? Don't know if anyone currently reading will actually pay attention, but let's quickly do that. Reading, watching. Right, where were we? Yes. Airborne object. Splot. Well, sorry, Goblin Hammerman, but you were trying to break into my fortress. Sadly, the next goblin was not in the flight path of that boulder, and it's going to take a little while to reload the catapult. It does involve going downstairs, finding a rock, hauling it back up again. So the cave dragon has made it onto the bridge before we managed to get the who are you and what are you doing? You're doing no job. Okay, well, just remember to run away from the cave dragon, okay? Why do goblins do things like this? This goblin has just turned round and decided to leave again. And I think it's unlikely we're going to get this catapult loaded in time, but we are now dependent on that. Still have no job, but you're hanging around in a very unhelpful place. How about you get scared of this cave dragon? No, don't run towards the cave dragon. Because if you do that, this will happen. Oh, okay. That wasn't very bad. Okay, you could try running past the cave dragon, I suppose. So far, the cave dragon has been missed by the various weapon traps it's treaded on, and has missed the dwarf. Sadly, this is not a repeatable thing. And the cave dragon's second attack has caused some damage. Which is probably not going to go well. Yes, you probably should. Well, maybe. I mean, you do have a fish with you. No, that's not helpful. You have a do you have a weapon? You do. You have an artifact, well, possibly artifact weapon. You have an artifact crossbow. Okay. That's all very nice. Right, you're a siege operator. You're a legendary siege operator. You are randomly hanging around in the wrong place. You have a crossbow, but no ammunition to go with it. I really do need to try to work out what's going on with that squad and make it work properly. Right, we've bruised the cave dragon with the weapon trap. Or with a weapon trap. Why are so many of these weapons spinning? Possibly because that's how weapon traps work? I don't know. My dear Solon, I recommend you roll towards the weapon traps, because that way something might actually be usefully done. Is anyone actually coming to operate the bolt throwers, do you think? Yes, they are. But it's going to take a while. How is your shield use anyway? Dabbling, right. Probably not going to be good enough then. I mean, it's going to be getting better. Right, the goblin hammerman on the drawbridge outside keeps passing in and out of consciousness. This one appears to be airborne for some reason. Possibly leaping off the bridge for some purpose. So Solon is fighting back a bit. Sadly, our cave dragon is now standing on a square that doesn't have a weapon trap on it. So it's probably... There's probably not much that will be useful here. Unless the weaponsmith actually manages to leave and drag the dragon back to the back within range of the catapult, which is still being reloaded, or someone actually makes it to one of the other. Here I think is the person who will operate the Barbican bolt thrower, but they're still a pretty decent distance away. If you could scramble away in an actually away direction, that would probably be helpful. Another attempt at wrestling. by the cave dragon. And it lets go again. Anything exciting happening up here yet? Oh, we've got that. We've got some airborne bolts, crossbow bolts around the front gate now, so we're probably going to get a lot of combat log messages. I might ignore the ones that don't relate to the dragon. Continuing good shield use here. So, you're just letting go again. Yeah, continuing good shield use. Our siege operator is getting closer to their bolt thrower. Suppose I could watch this by way of dragon's own combat log. Yes. Oh dear, that's nasty. That's going to be painful. There are now a large number of flying crossbow bolts, so I think we may not have long to wait before this fight turns in favour of the dwarves. But right. Unfortunately, I fear that our weaponsmith may not be. I mean, I think this is probably going to mostly cause the cave dragon to stop attacking, because it's suddenly being hit with an awful lot of crossbow bolts. But the poor weaponsmith is slowly bleeding out, well, fairly rapidly bleeding out on the floor. Oh, indeed dead. Yes, Solon did not survive that attack from a cave dragon. But on the other hand, we are now in a position to provide lots and lots of crossbow bolts to local goblins. Okay, where have you done this? All right, you're managing to enter a martial trance despite being operating a siege engine at the time. Okay. So some of the goblins can get past the front bolt thrower. I think we just saw a bolt thrower in the catapult, which is a bit weird. Yes, and occasionally surprise extra goblins turn up. Yes, oh right, there are. Because this is a fortification, it is possible for a goblin bowman to stand here, fire through this fortification at the siege operator. Though admittedly they have so far managed to avoid actually getting hit by it. And I think that goblin bowmen may actually be in a position where they can't be hit by this bolt thrower, because that would involve going through that square, which is not a fortification. However, this siege operator is now standing in a square that I think that bowman can't hit either. There's quite a lot of crossbow bolts. Quite a lot of unwell goblins. But, like, a fair number have got through and are going to have to be dealt with by the next siege operator. Plus, I think we're now reloading, yes. So where's the, how are the goblins doing that have got inside? They're now meeting up with another bolt thrower, which is in a much more advantageous position for killing goblins. Plus they've met the traps. So we've found an entire squad of axemen who were previously hiding, I think. Well, that's fine. I'm sure they like crossbow bolts as much as the next goblin. Dear, are you having to reload as well? Yes. But the goblins will be affected by the weapon traps, and that will probably be enough. I mean, admittedly, the weapon traps are mostly filled with elf swords, which aren't very effective. So yes, we have a lot of attacks, but they're mostly by wooden swords, which are like slightly harmful because they'll, not so much because they're likely to cut you, but because they will break your limbs possibly, or just injure your joints. So yes, the goblins down here get a bit of a rest because we're reloading the bolt thrower. The goblins up here turned out to be quite soft. A couple of goblins have successfully dodged and managed to fall onto the spikes down below. Or spears or whatever. You know, our most advanced goblin is doing all right. To the extent that I'm thinking I might want to actually make some effort at dealing with them when they get in. So I think we'll take the squad of that squad of axe dwarves and actually tell them that they should be in military configuration, just in case this here goblin gets somewhere. Because while she may be terrified, she's also a couple of squares away from actually making it into our fortress past the traps. Having dodged by one means or another all of the weapon traps in the room, well, not all of them, but weapon traps all the way through the room. Being an accomplished dodger probably helps. You found another mob of incoming goblins, that's fine. Congratulations! You've made it into a cage, well done. Don't worry, we'll release you once the siege is over. We'll release you once the siege is over into the caverns. Right, so congratulations, that goblin. You've managed to end up completely uninjured in a cage. Meanwhile, up here we hurl quantities of crossbow bolts at the goblins still on the drawbridge and approaching the drawbridge. Are you still just reloading that bolt thrower? Yes, because you're doing it one bolt at a time. Well, that's fine. The weapon traps are doing their job, as is your colleague out front on the other bolt thrower. Unpause for a moment to let that flurry of bolts fly. And like you can see that this bolt thrower is quite effective. I don't know what happened to the ammunition that ended up getting fired in here. I think all the goblin... there's a still just about alive goblin. So did you get got by the... no, you managed to get attacked by the traps for the most part. Oh no, you did get shot as well, I see. So we do keep getting new ambushes, but those mostly appear to be new goblins arriving. Where are the siege engineers and miners? And so they brought a lot of siege engineers with them this time. But most of them are still on the edge of the map waiting for the goblins to get killed. A few goblins look like they're making it in. Yep, there. that's quite a big mob of goblins all coming in together. And I think we're currently reloading the outer bolt thrower. The inner one is busy dealing with a smaller mob of goblins. This might be quite a challenge for the dwarves. Finished reloading. Not many goblins made it past the outer bolt thrower. Looks like the traps are dealing with them. And like the bolt thrower can finish them off. Just it takes a little while to I think I've forgotten what I was going to say. Yes, just the traps are definitely necessary here. There's a kitten. What's the kitten doing?
Anything it likes, that's what kittens are for.
It's a very odd kitten. It's blissful after a bath. Right, it has fled back into the fortress.
After a bath.
No, after encountering a goblin. There is also a terrified cat out there, but said cat is also fleeing back into the fortress. Looks like the Barbican has so far continued to hold off all the remaining goblins, so we still only have one spare, one that actually got in. Where are the siege engineers now? There are still plenty of goblins and Monera out there. Siege engineers appear to be in a little cluster here, with miners a bit ahead of them. No, that's a tree trunk. Maybe there's only one miner actually. It's a bit hard to tell. The miners look very much like tree trunks. There are 3 Blind Cave Ogre siege engineers there. Another one here. So there may well be some entertaining construction to follow. Oh, you've destroyed my farm plot, you nuisance.
Scorched earth strategy.
Yes, yes, a scorched earth strategy indeed. So you can see that the flow of incoming goblins is abating a little. That required quite a lot. Mostly we appear to have kittens in the Barbican at the moment. I think we will just tolerate their presence. a beak dog has got shot as well. Convenient in a sense. Yeah, the catapult is probably not the most useful object, but right, that was a successful hit with the catapult, I suppose. I think that was a goblin falling off the drawbridge. Yes. There isn't really much for me to do in this siege, is there? I'm mostly just watching what happens. At this stage, it's fundamentally up to the dwarves to save the fortress. What are the siege engineers up to then, eh? I mean, assuming they aren't just running away now. It looks like they're running away. Or maybe not. Certainly a lot of milling around on the edge of the map going on. Maybe they're just backing off in order to regroup. So they don't seem to be doing any works upstairs. Let's just have a quick look at where the ogres are, if they are. I can't see any blind cave ogres on this list. So I think they've already left, which is excellent because they're the only thing that could possibly have allowed the goblins to win. Now we just need to wait for okay, there was an ogre around, they just killed a kitten. I don't know where they are though. Maybe it's not just killed a kitten, maybe they killed a kitten some time ago. Oh, there are some beak dogs. Now dying on the drawbridge. Oh, two dwarves appear to have been found dead out in the world, so we have lost one or two more dwarves. We are now down to 95. I mean, we're not losing nearly at the rate that the goblins are losing, mind. And they seem to be quite reluctant to get too close to the front entrance now. there isn't much else they can do, because with their siege, with their miners gone, they're just going to end up hanging around out there. Excellent, more puppies. They're bringing their battering ram up here. But I don't know if they're going to be able to do anything with it. It seems to be heading north again now anyway. Right, we aren't getting enough rocks to supply us with... Oh, someone has left the front bolt thrower unattended, probably to go and get some food or something. Yes, to get some drink. Which means there's an opportunity for a brave goblin, well, preferably an entire squad of brave goblins, to come into the fortress. I mean, they don't really constitute a squad anymore. There are only 12 of them plus 3 Monera. Right, we apparently have a stray dog or two. And in general, we try to train dogs for war. Okay, we do have yet another dwarf somewhere on the surface. Getting into trouble. So where are they going with that battering ram? What are they planning to do with it? If insofar as they have a plan at all. There is apparently another squad of goblins bringing a battering ram up the hill. We don't actually seem to have anyone assigned to firing the front bolt thrower, which is kind of unfortunate. I mean, it's not that unfortunate because the goblins are not doing anything, but apart from shooting passing kittens. Have more puppies. Those are just cats coming back in again. So I think the only surviving goblins now are those two partial squads. I think they are only partial squads now. Yes, 3 pikemen, oh maybe 4 lashers. Plus 1 limping elite crossbowman. Not sure fractured is the right adjective for a spleen. So are you just trying to leave the map now? Certainly looks like it. Yes, there is definitely an amount of departure going on. The only slight problem is that it takes quite a long time for the battering rams to move off the map. Let's unforbid that goblin cage, because then someone can move it down to the caverns. So are these 2 squads actually going anywhere? Really doesn't look like it, does it? Do I just need to send a bunch of dwarves out there to kill them so as to get this siege over with? I think I probably do. Actually, no, let's... just say... go after all of the goblins we have left, which I think is those 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Possibly 1 Monera?
But that's not the captain Monera, that's some other Monera.
No, indeed. Right, so the Divine Stones have a possibly optimistic task now set. Oh, except they can't leave the fortress, can they? Let's allow them to leave the fortress. That'll make things easier. So they're going to try to get out through the one-way valve and discover it doesn't let them out. Right, now they can leave. Right, yes, well, that's probably not going to be a very long-lived goblin. Especially when a second Axe Lord turns up to help. You didn't need those legs, did you? Yeah, I think that's going to be fatal. Right, one down. Well, more or less down anyway. What now? Alright, yes, we're still removing little bits of this goblin. So this goblin has already been hit with a stone thrown by the catapult, and now is yeah, that's going to be a very rapidly fatal wound. That less so. But yes, I think that's all of the goblins who brought a battering ram with them disposed of. There is one Monera, but the siege is now officially over.
Where is the mirror? Are they still are they leaving or stuck somewhere?
Monera is moving very slowly. I think trying to get off the map. And it is now the start of a new year. Year 132. The world has passed into the Age of Legends. That's an interesting announcement. Do we get a further explanation of that in-game, or do I have to find it somewhere else? Also, are we about to run out of swap somehow? We are still following this very slowly fleeing Monera. Let's have a quick look at whether the calendar information will tell me anything. Meanwhile, oh dear, the poor Monera got caught up with. So the Age of Legends is when the mega beasts, etc., are down to only between 1/3 and 2/3 of the number that they were when the world began. So for the most part, yes, we. This means we're down to that about a third of the world's mega beasts have been killed. That is things like titans and forgotten beasts and such like.
And is that modelling them differently all over the world, or have you personally been modelling them?
I think this is all over the world, not just the ones that have encountered us. In particular, we didn't just reduce the population to by one, but possibly it happens at the start of the year or something for convenience. Right, so that's the siege over, so we should reconfigure things for non-siege activities. Main borough, blah blah, and bridges. We've already sorted the inner drawbridge. Put what Barbican Wagon Bridge back. Oh, and get on with demolishing that square there. Right, and now there is the usual amount of... Have we got anywhere to bury people? Not quite sure. We were only down one population, I think. I think we were at 94 when we... 96 when we started this. I did have a previous stream on my screen, which I'm now going to restart in order to...
Once they finished building, that was all at woodland.
So yes, I think our population was 96 at the start of this stream, which suggests we've only lost one dwarf, which doesn't match my memory. But anyway, we should set up some more coffins and start dumping dead goblins. Actually, I think the easiest way to do that is from the stocks menu. Yes, look, I think we've got the... maybe those aren't. So anything that shows as corpse is probably, and it has a goblin-y looking name, probably a dead goblin we want to get rid of. So if it shows as a G, that's a bit of a giveaway, isn't it? If it's a skeleton, it probably predates this siege. Obviously, if it's dwarf, we want to bury them politely and not just crush them in the atom smasher. No, not those ones. See, there's two reasonably recent dwarf corpses, which means we've lost more than the number we seem to have, and another, more than the number that should have been lost, that we think we've lost during this siege, which is weird. Cave dragon, of course, we don't want to crush unless it's actually been, unless it started rotting, which it probably has, sadly. Oh, maybe not. This is proving to be quite an effective way of finding all of these. I mean, it's still quite slow, but there are so many of them. Like, you've brought so many goblins to hurl at our defences, and we barely noticed you. Right. That's not counting all of the loose body parts that might need to be disposed of. So we are efficiently now hauling dead goblins to the atom smasher. It should fairly efficiently smash them. I think we may have oh, great big exterior magma plume. Ah, right, yes, rising from the front door of the fortress. No, I think we're still waiting. Well, we're only waiting for 2. That's no good. We're going to need more than 2 new tombs. I think it's about 4 we need. is perhaps slightly too much rubbish lying around in the Barbican now. Well, let's at least unforbid it so that things can be disposed of, or rather moved into more useful locations. Yeah, all these items are marked for, all these goblin corpses are marked for disposal. It's just going to take a little while. I think there is, yes, there's an ear there which we could get rid of. And one there as well. Try to dispose of the random body parts that seem to have ended up getting shot off and left at the bottom of the moat. A few fresh ones up here as well. In particular the ones that got attacked by the axe dwarves have ended up in little pieces. Left feet of two different goblins. Right, looks like it's most of the loose bits. Okay, apparently some of our subterranean mining is still going on as we find more platinum. I feel that you have struck Sard while in the middle of mining platinum is a bit silly, but right. So that half of the drawbridge can now safely be lowered again. Don't think it will cause any trouble when we lower that. Let's also reclaim any objects out here. Oh, we just raised a drawbridge rather than lowering it. That was a mistake. I think it just killed two of our dwarves. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Because the problem is, if you raise the drawbridge, while someone is on it, they are quite likely, and while it's covered in objects, they will have all the objects hurled at them in addition to being hurled in the air themselves. Oh, what a mess. Right, let's operate the correct lever, well actually both levers now. To lower both drawbridges rather than raising them, because that was a mistake. It's a lot tidier now than it was, because all those objects have now been thrown in the air. Well, okay, kind of tidier, and are no longer on the drawbridge, but it did kill 2 dwarves in the process, which is bad. 3 dwarves. So about those new tombs, eh? Right. That will provide for more burials. Just unforbid a bunch more objects around the main entrance. Yes, apparently there are higher priorities than dumping all these items, which is a bit annoying. Some items are still getting dumped, so it'll happen eventually. I mean, it's quite reasonable to put store item in tomb as the highest priority thing we can do. But possibly allowing the dwarves to collect all the spare crossbow bolts is not the most efficient thing at this stage. Right, I think since it is past half midnight, I should pause now, and we'll come back to this on Sunday, because we're mostly in the cleaning up phase again, and that's not very exciting. So I think at this point I shall say good night. Good night.